Hey guys. So I have watched ASMR videos for a long time, but never made one. And my library just had like a $5 a bag book sale. And I thought that I would buy $5 worth of books, which is actually a lot of books. It was really heavy. It took a long time to get home. And talk about them and just sort of flip through them. And I want to do it kind of slowly. So I think each book might take a couple of videos. But the book that I wanted to start with, I actually read the kind of introductory thing, but it was made in the 1940s. It's called Currier and Ives, Printmakers to the American People, and it's all of these prints that were made over the course of the 19th century, and so they're reprinted in this book that was kind of like a commemorative thing. And it's funny because the 1940s explanations of the prints kind of, there's a lot of like language of taste and class in there, which, you know, they'll just be saying like, well, some of these prints I don't know why they would be published, except that people didn't have any class back then. Which is just a funny way to look at history. Some of the other books I got are back here to prop it up because of the glare. But yeah, so I thought maybe we could skip past some of that introductory stuff. This says $15, but I got it for like 5 cents or whatever. Maybe look at the first prints, but we don't have to read all the text part. And I guess it makes sense to like move the book this way because most of the prints are in this direction. Sorry for the twist, but so this says The Road, Winter, and then that smaller text is just talking about how it's made by Currier and Ives in New York. I love looking at pictures of horses from kind of before the era of photography, which I don't know if this print specifically in the 19th century was before photography came around, but even if it wasn't until later that Muybridge, I think Edward Muybridge, took those pictures of horses where you could really see every part of the horse's movement, because until then there was this whole debate about whether when they ran all 4 hooves ever left the ground. And sometimes you see like pictures of horses, not this one, but there are other drawings of them where they just look so ridiculous. Not that I could draw anything better, But it's weird, they're like running on the ice because there's the track of their sleigh, I guess. She's got like furs over the two of them. I guess this was maybe like a romantic thing that people would do. The geese. It's strange that the geese are flying since it's already obviously winter. It's a nice kind of foreground here also. Home to Thanksgiving. God, it used to snow already by November. The guy's coming home. But yeah. Careful. It's a little silly to have this to the side, but Currier and Ives, Printmakers to the American Peter by Harry T. Peters. I guess this was maybe like 1940s levels of curly cues from Doubleday. Garden City, New York. And yeah, so let's see, what day is that exactly? 1943. Roman numerals are so confusing. This special edition of Currier and Ives is set in 12-point Callison monotype. Dedicated to the memory of those resolute Americans whose sturdy achievements in building an empire provided inspiration for the prints in the Currier and Ives gallery. So this is sort of what I mean by perhaps, I don't know, a certain patriotic view of the United States that exists in some places, but definitely not to the degree that it did. And it tells you the titles of the prints and stuff, but I think we should skip forward through. So this is the stuff that I was reading that was interesting, but there is a lot of it before the prints start. There we go. That's a little preview. Okay, well, this is harder than it looks. I also have to hold this with my hand, so I hope it's not too jiggly. I'm going to try and get this better. So, collared engravings for the People, established by N. Currier, lithographer, 2 Spruce Street, New York, for sale here. So I guess something like this would just be on display in their window. And the way they described it, basically these shops just had, they had a couple of shops, and they were just full of stacks and stacks and stacks of prints, and some of them were colored by these like German ladies. It was something like there were like 12 German ladies, and it would switch, but they were always German somehow. 12 German ladies, And then if you didn't get it colored, oh, and each of them had a color, so I guess there are only 12 colors. But if you didn't have a colored one, you could get them not colored, which people did. And sometimes schools, for example, would use them, and they would teach people to color with them. But, okay. So now it starts properly. The sailor's adieu, and the sailor's return. So it's interesting that she's wearing a black dress there. I guess maybe she was in mourning for him, but it's weird that she's wearing. It's also weird from like a purity standpoint, because a lot of times when people are wearing white dresses, they're considered pure. So it's odd that she would be wearing a black dress when he comes back from the war. But I'm probably, or not from the war, from abroad. But I'm probably reading too much to that. She also seems to have moved into an entirely different house after he left. It's also strange because in this one it's very pastoral almost in the background. But here there's like the ship. And you'd think that he would be, the ship would be more featured here, where he would be like pointing to it with his hat or something. Just an odd picture. Then here we have Off to the War and The Soldier's Return. He doesn't even look like the same guy. Maybe not. Maybe he does. I like his pants. And her lace. Here she has a son. Where'd the sun go? This fountain in the background. So she's clearly not poor. Also with her lace. It's not poor. But it does look like here he's in mourning almost. This is bayonet, I guess. I think that's what that's called. Popping the question. So here she is in white, very pure, very demurely looking away. Doesn't really look like he's about to ask her to marry him, though. She doesn't look very excited. Just kind of awkward. It's cool how this is sort of framed in this, the curved edges, so you get almost like a I don't know, it feels almost more indoors without those like hard angles. Kind of matches the curve of the painting a little bit, which is very domestic. And her couch, it's a beautiful couch. Well, I hope it worked out. It's got a very thin waist. So does he. Hand on his lap. Is she holding a pen? No, a fan. And Here we have the colored print, Paytona and Fashion. So I guess Paytona and Fashion were the two horses racing. Probably at the time they would have been very famous horses, and everyone was sort of known. Who was that horse? There was a horse recently that won like all 3 of the derbies or something. Maybe that kind of horse. But you also, it's interesting because you can see the crowds of people and I guess other horses waiting to go. This woman doesn't care. She's just going to do her shopping. Or maybe she's selling stuff to the people. Looks like mostly men, except for these ladies. Maybe more ladies over there. Very colorful. And then background. Yeah, so you can kind of see all the like the fair side attractions almost. Just this big loop that they have to go around. And these were probably like the stats. They're great match for $20,000. Oh, so I guess this was like a print commemorating an event. And if you couldn't go to the event, you would just get this commemorative print. Or maybe if you went to the event, you'd get this commemorative print. So you could remember it forever. I don't know which one's Paytona and which one's Fashion, but they probably put whichever one it was in front. The Life of a Hunter. So this is interesting because it's kind of glorifying a certain kind of life. You know what I mean? Like we have macho men now, and here we have this scene of like this guy with a knife fighting a bear. But at the same time, he's kind of covered by this guy over here, so it's not clear quite how brave and alone he is. But even like his clothes are kind of silly for the outdoors. Like it's covered in snow and he's not, he's like wearing a shirt. I like the folds on the bear. So many folds. These trees. Very rugged. Rugged guy. Rugged dude. Ooh. Here we have another of the before and after pics. So the lovers' quarrel and the lovers' reconciliation. I'm quarreling. That's the least quarrelsome thing I've ever seen. She's just kind of like thinking. He's thinking. They do seem very reconciled, though. Oh, the curtain kind of moves across. So across the two prints, you still feel like you have like the drapes. And this kind of fancy wallpaper was very, kind of like a very Victorian, I think, thing. She's wearing a different dress, so I guess it's a different day that they reconciled. Chair. Necklace. I'm in a dorm, so you can hear things in the background, which is annoying. But oh, here's a marriage certificate. That's interesting. I guess you'd get, if you were really rich, like a picture of yourself. tying the knot. And here they have the requirements of the husband, the requirements of the wife, and then their signatures. I don't think this is a picture of them though, which is what's super interesting, because it has all these blanks to fill in. So for your marriage certificate, you would just get a picture of these two randos and their priest. But you'd have it forever. So if you looked nothing like her, that was just tough. How heavily ornamented it all is, though. That had to be like carved out onto wood blocks. So what's this? Single, married. Oh man. It's weird because you can't really tell if he's happy or single or married. Oh, paunchier. It's a terrifying child. But here there's no light. You know, I guess there's the fire, so it's like warm. But it's kind of like this stifled room, and there you have the like open door. Although maybe the open door is kind of the world outside that he's not a part of. He seems happy with his child on his knee. It's funny, it's a girl. His wife. It's interesting that they're focused not on the fact that you have a wife, but the fact that you have a child. But he seems very satisfied here, smoking. All of his hunting things, so very sort of typically manly activity as opposed to here where it's maybe less manly. Who knows? Maybe they were trying to say that there are benefits to both. The railroad suspension bridge. So this is cool because you can see all the cars, the like carriages running across, and the train. And this was kind of like a typical celebration of modernity almost. Like there's also the boat traveling down the river. And so you have this kind of natural landscape dominated by, or not dominated, but maybe even living in harmony with all of these different examples of like transportation. And this is, I guess, you get a little perch, and you can look out with this little group of people. It's interesting because a lot of kind of scenes of nature would remove people completely. But this, I guess, is a scene of nature and man kind of coexisting together. This powerful river. The sky. Catching trout. It's funny, it takes 3 guys to catch trout. So you got this guy, hooked him. This guy who's trying to stab him, I guess. This totally clear, clean lake. This guy's just not, he's not involved. He's on the wrong side of the boat. Sorry, dude. The reflection cutting across the diagonals and all of the, it's almost like the only thing that's moving in the whole lake is them. There's some kind of dam in the background. And it trees. Here we have two prints of the same thing. So I guess I'll talk about this one. It's two dogs flushing out a quail, or American field sports. Oh, there's another one down here. That's the one that got away. Much clever. This is almost, it's so much more watercolory than the other prints. You know, like the trees are way lit. They're more like blurry. And the little flecks. Maybe the partridge? I don't know what this is. The round wings. Like he's pointing. His whole body is just a point. This one's less good, less pointy. So that you could shoot him. It's funny that you're from this angle though, because you're not identifying with the hunter really. You almost identify more with this little bird who's hiding. You want him to get away. More birds up there. Let's look at the Lightning Express train. Look up Thomas the Tank Engine. Not quite. So here we have another kind of technology versus nature. But in that one, in the other one, you know, the nature was all in the foreground, and then you kind of had that one bridge, but here it's all about these big trains carrying stuff across the United States, burning a lot of coal, sending it into the sky. It's funny that it's at night too, kind of emphasizing that they could move at any time. Weird because they kind of look like they're completely still. Like they don't look like they're racing along. 4 tracks going. Wow. The wreck of the steamship San Francisco. Disabled on her voyage from New York to San Francisco, December 24th, 1853, and in a sinking condition. So, this is another one of those prints that I guess you would buy to witness an event that you weren't there for, because obviously this was before TV. But it's interesting how they choose to position, for example, like the 3 boats, because obviously, or not obviously, but maybe the guy who made this image wasn't even there, you know. He was just printing an image to go along with a story. So here's the boat being rescued, I guess. And the 3, but he chooses to have it maybe as like the storm is still raging, the waves are still there, but there's this little patch of light, almost like the boats themselves, or this patch of light kind of coming to save. This one, it's a story of Americans being able to rescue themselves. Maybe. Here's a kind of hard to see, but it's all about Lexington. And this whole thing just tells you the accounts of what happened. Super racist. This is our history. It's funny because here they end up getting taken advantage of, so they're really no better. They stop to get a little alcohol. So I say, Billy, pour us a snifter and bring on your engines. And then, because they stopped and took the alcohol, they got caught. And of course, this is incredibly stereotyped portrait, but they're not portrayed so well themselves. I'm not really in the mood to look at race, so yeah. Let's maybe look at this last one. And I said this would be a many-part video series, so we'll move on. But I like this a lot. The Art of Making Money Plenty in Every Man's Pocket by Dr. Franklin. So this is one of those puzzles where they replace all of the words, or not all the words, but most of the words, with pictures. So at this, and I guess this is supposed to be a depiction of time, W hen, so when, and this is general. Complaint is T hat, that. Money, IS is, so that's cool.